Hey everyone, so I got a comparison here between the Sony Xperia Performance and the OnePlus 3T. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to power both these phones on at the same time. Now the Sony Xperia Performance is not the best Sony phone of the year. That goes to the Sony Xperia XZ, which is also much faster than the X Performance. Still feel it's a pretty fair comparison though, because the Sony Xperia Performance pretty similar in price to the OnePlus 3T, even actually more expensive than the 3T. You can get the Sony Xperia Performance for around low 500s. The OnePlus 3T starting at 440 for the 64GB model. Now with the OnePlus 3T, you are getting better internals. It's a newer phone. This came out last week. The X Performance by comparison came out around July. With the OnePlus 3T getting the Snapdragon 821 and 6GB of RAM. With the Sony getting the Snapdragon 820 and 3GB of RAM. As you see there, about a tie loading up. Let's go ahead over to the app page. Let's make sure everything's closed out. Alright guys, so like usual, paying for the video, app opening, game opening, web browsing, fingerprint scanner, multitasking, camera speed, and more. We're going to start off with Temple Run 2. And you're going to see the power to Snapdragon 821 in play here. Very, very fast. So as you saw, the OnePlus 3T winning this by a few seconds. And that's mostly what you can expect from games. Alright, so next up we got CNN. Thai. iFunny. That goes to OnePlus, YouTube. OnePlus. Calculator. Clock. eBay. That one goes to the Sony. Asphalt 8. And I actually don't have the latest version of Asphalt 8 yet on the X Performance, although it's still on the 3T, you're just going to see it still loads up faster. Not the most accurate comparison here, but I'm very, very confident that the 3T would load up this game faster if they were on the exact same version. Next up, photos. So again, you see 3T there, ESPN. And this is a pretty slow loading app. But as you hear, 3T again. Settings. Into the benchmark. So for the Sony, score of 145,458 for the OnePlus 3T. 163,434. Now this is the highest that you'll see on Android. Just a comparison. So you have very impressive score there, just lower than the iPhone 7 Plus. Next up, let's check out Chrome. Alright, so we're going to go to several sites. These are actually voting up different sites. Just make sure all the tabs are closed out of. Alright, so just going to close out of all the tabs. And there should be a fast way to close all these. Close all tabs. Alright, there we go. Alright, so again, let's go back into Chrome. And let's first go to Alright, let's first go to Nintendo.com. Sorry guys, I'm being a little bit of a noob here. I guess I gotta enter it in there. Alright, Nintendo.com. Alright, so you saw there X Performance. Let's go to CNN.com. Then we're going to head on over to Sony.com. That one goes to the OnePlus. Let's do Sony. Sony.com. Again, OnePlus there. We'll do one last one, and then we'll go on to some more stuff. Let's do Yahoo. Yahoo.com. Alright, so OnePlus there, OnePlus with 3 out of 4. Let's go ahead and look at the fingerprint scanner. Now, I do have to say that this fingerprint scanner on the OnePlus 3T is incredible. So guys, we'll see the comparison here. So Sony's here on the side with the OnePlus right here at the home button. And obviously the OnePlus 3T is faster. I mean, the Sony's still extremely fast. Might not even affect your day-to-day use, but again guys, you cannot beat the 3T fingerprint scanner here. Incredibly fast. And just to show you guys, it's not, it does actually, if you put in the wrong finger, it does actually say that. Just to show you guys that the fingerprint scanner is enabled. Let's do camera speed and multitasking. So the Sony Xperia XZ does have better rear-facing camera, 23 megapixels versus 16 for the 3T. In terms of front-facing, 13 for the Sony, 16 for the 3T. But in terms of speed, you see here, for the most part, the OnePlus 3T is faster taking pictures. And I will have actual comparisons on my channel. I do have some comparisons between the 3T and the Sony Xperia XZ, which you guys can check out. Personally, I do prefer the XZ camera. Same with the X Performance, I do prefer the camera here as well. But there's a speed going to the 3T. Alright, and last, let's just do multitasking. Alright, so let's head back to the beginning. Let's see if these phones will load up Temple Run 2 from the start. And they do. So it looks like, as you guys are going to see, it's going to start over for both these phones. And again, the 3T should load up faster. It does. Or it is so far. Now guys, the X Performance does have a lot of advantages. I'll discuss some of them in a second. One of them, as I mentioned, was the rear-facing camera. But in terms of, let's go to some more. In terms of raw power here, you see that the 3T clearly better advantage. Also, I think maybe a little bit better optimized. Because with the Sony Xperia XZ, it is very, very fast. Definitely faster than the X Performance, although the internal specs are the same as the X Performance. So that makes me think it comes down to optimization. I think that Sony just didn't do enough optimizing for the X Performance, even on Android 7 here, Android 7 Nougat. Next up is iFunny. So again, you see clearly better here on the OnePlus 3T, YouTube. Again, obviously better there on the 3T. Yeah, so again, better here on the 3T. Excellent multitasking so far for the 3T. Let's go to a more basic one. Let's go to photos. Let's go to Chrome. So Sony doing a little bit better on these that are newer. I think that may have to do with the RAM difference. And by newer, I mean ones that we more recently accessed. When you start going towards the end, the later ones, 3T clearly doing better. Alright guys, just to round this off, I mean the Sony Xperia XZ does have advantages. Well, both phones, in terms of screen resolution, both are 1080p. Personally, I do prefer the screen on the X4 just in terms of the colors and just overall display quality, although there's really not much of a difference. And the OnePlus 3T screen is larger, 5.5 inches. Now, some other differences between the two, the X Performance does have micro SD card support. The OnePlus 3T is not, although you can get more memory on the X Performance, either 32 or 64. On OnePlus 3T, 64, 128. But again, on the 3T, no micro SD card support. The battery is definitely better on the 3T, 3400 versus 2700 on the X Performance. On the X Performance, you do have stereo speakers, you do have waterproofing, both lacking on the 3T. Also on the X Performance, micro USB at the bottom, not USB Type-C like the XZ has, the Sony Xperia XZ. On the OnePlus 3T, you are getting USB Type-C. And as I mentioned earlier, so pricing, the X Performance in the low 500s, the OnePlus 3T starting around 440. Now personally guys, I mean, as you clearly saw here, the 3T is a faster phone than the Sony Xperia X Performance. Not very surprising that the matchup versus the Xperia XZ will be pretty interesting. But again, clearly the OnePlus 3T is faster. Now, as I just mentioned, there are advantages that the X Performance has, like waterproofing, better camera, micro SD card support. So really, it comes more down to preference, which one you prefer. I do definitely prefer, though, the XZ to the Xperia X Performance. So if you're thinking about these two phones, personally, I would say check out the Sony Xperia XZ, see how that compares with the OnePlus 3T, and then make your decision. Because the X Performance is a little bit cheaper than the XZ, but the XZ clearly a better phone, much faster in terms of speed, more comparable to the OnePlus 3T. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I hope that you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe for more like this in the future. We'll be doing a rematch once both these phones are on Android 7. Currently just the Sony Xperia X Performances. And yeah guys, thanks again for watching, and let me know in the comments what video you want to see next. Oh, one last thing. Let me just show you the build quality. So just look at the back of the phones, mostly made of metal. Alright guys, thanks again.